This presentation is number 3 in a series of events that we staged entitled Photography Isn't Dead. I'm Rebecca Skiffins, I'm a account handler with Happy Finish. We've organised these events in an effort to help dispel the myth that CGI will overtake the photographer and to help us showcase how CGI is being utilised as an additional production tool. I think it's a common assumption that CGI is part of the post-production process, but it really should be best considered as a photographic production tool, alike to commissioning a model maker or a set designer at the start of planning your photographic production. But the photographic production team should very much be involved in the art direction of CG elements.
Hi, I'm Simon Hanna. Been doing a shoot today in a village underground. We've been shooting a main concept. We used CGI to pre-visualise. We then shot the overall building, which we then lift the roof and put another roof on. From that, we will then introduce certain other elements that are built in CGI. We had a good day. It's good fun. It's a big building. There's quite a lot to do. Quite happy with the concept, and there's still an extra element to shoot. But once that's done, it'll be top. It'll be good.
We knew that we wanted the backplate as the key photographic element here, so it was important that we sourced a great space to fill. So with this project, the key starting point for us was sourcing the location. The village underground, as you see here, was chosen for the character of the building. And Simon was keen to take the building back to its original industrial roots. And through the styling of the shot, he wanted to suggest the Victorian era. We find that mood boards are a very useful tool for communicating sort of the feel and the structure of the image. And we work with mood boards quite a lot, both when working on retouching and CGI projects. On CGI projects particularly, some of the details that we might expect to find on a mood board are things like textures and materials to be used.
Together we wanted to create something that satisfied all of our disciplines. Certain themes came from the building itself, which has a gritty industrial property to it. The building's original purpose as a coal store for steam engines focused our exploration upon a vintage and Victorian urban theme.
At Happy Finish we use a variety of software programs depending on the project requirements, but this particular project was produced using Modo. Measurements were taken on the day of the recce that came in very handy for the CG prep. These measurements aid the CG artist to interpret the dimensions into the backplate so that the CG objects can be inserted to scale. They could then walk around the 3D space to decide on camera positioning and the best composition for the shoot. This process is called pre-visualization or pre-vis. And it's part of the pre-production stage. Pre-vis is particularly helpful if a recce is impossible or your location is inaccessible. You know, in retouching, often images are pieced together from multiple parts according to your vision. With CGI, it's similar to that. You can also experiment with suitable lighting for the space, and you can light your scenes using any number of lights to set atmosphere and mood in the virtual environment. The lights used in 3D programs like Modo are comparable to real-life lighting. This is a really important part of the process for photographers to get involved in. Basically, they can bring their technical expertise to help direct the CG artist.
So as a photographer, it's very important for me that what I did, what I shot on the day would dictate everything else rather than the CGI. So indeed, you know, if we move to the left or to the right, the CGI process was still, it's very flexible and organic and followed and reacted to the photography and the results of the shoot. Basically, we wanted to leave the narrative hanging a little. We wanted to create a scene so that it showed that the heat, the light and the warmth coming from the tunnel was perhaps the lifeline of the tree. This is the camera that I use. This is a Hasselblad H4D50. So we were in a similar position to this. Took some shots, etc. As you can see, I concentrated on different elements at different times to control the narrative, using the previs all the time as a direction to help the talent who were styled up into their roles.
Often props are used to help actors visualise the virtual elements that they might have to interact with. An HDRI was also shot on location, which was helpful for positioning the light sources, both natural and artificial, within a 3D scene, again to match with the photography from the day. There's a lot of data that we request photographers to record as it helps to match up scenes correctly in 3D software. Lots of this info is often available in the metadata of your digital captures, such as camera system and back used and lens info. But please double check that it's accurate. It's really helpful. Please record the height and angle of the camera and the distance from the camera to the centre of your CG object. Now, don't worry if you can't measure this or you haven't decided quite where to place your CG object at this stage, then you can just put markers on the ground or measure any key objects or structural features within that scene, with door frames, windows, that kind of thing. Simon was keen to construct a more organic, customised roof, and the construction of this roof was crucial to have in place prior to the next photographic stage, which is our miniature shoot with our main man here, Malcolm. The composition of that broken roof would influence the position of where Malcolm was situated within the shoot.
I asked Matt for some measurements from his CGI model that I was then able to translate into the scale model that you see here. From here, you can see that we faded in and out of the previs just to make sure we had the positioning right.
So with all the photographic elements now in the bag, Matt and Simon could concentrate on the final stages of the CGI development. In particular, the development of our focal point, the bespoke CGI tree. And once Simon and Matt had finalised that tree, then the whole scene could then be set up to render. Rendering is the combination of elements such as geometry, cameras and textures, with the physics of light to create a 2D pixel-based image, but with three-dimensional properties. However, as with photography, CGI produces raw elements that need finessing in post-production. And it's particularly important when combining different disciplines. The retouching is key to get them blending together.
So here we have the photographic backplate. There's already been some colour corrections applied. The back wall has been decorated and we have some smoke being brushed in. I then start to add some of the photographic elements, literally just dropping them in place. We have some characters here. And then I start to add the CGI elements. Having good CGI enables me as a retoucher to treat these elements as I would photographic elements during a comp. The difference is that I have a greater amount of control. From here, referring back to our initial mood boards for style and atmosphere, and again working closely with Simon, the final grading is applied.
On this project, bespoke CG elements like the tree and the roof are able to be changed and customised throughout the project. And those lightings and shadows that are produced can match the space and lighting of your backplate perfectly. I think we've shown that CGI enables impossible or unfeasible concepts and can be time and cost effective. Previs will make it easier to visualise the best creative results and help cut down on time both during and after the shoot. Previs of the concept for the client could also help make them more comfortable to commit to that project. CGI should be seen as an opportunity for photographers here, not a threat. We believe photographers will embrace and incorporate CGI into their workflow. It creates opportunities for you to be able to save your clients time and money, and also create concepts where anything's possible. You can shoot in locations that don't exist or you couldn't get to without a massive cost. And one thing to point out here, CG should be seen as a tool among others. We're not suggesting that CGI will replace photography or any other medium for that matter. Obviously each case is different and needs to be evaluated on its individual merits. There are many occasions where CGI would be the easiest, cheapest and best option. And we just encourage you to see it as an additional string to your bow when producing photographic shoots. So that about wraps us up. Thanks very much.